Fire investigation is an important part of our job as a fire and rescue service. We need to find out how fires start, why they started, so we can not only feed them into community safety messages, but also if there's a possible prosecution, it helps us with evidence. So that's a very important role for Nikki and for Rex. And we lend that role to other fire services across the region and beyond to make sure that, especially if there's serious fires, we can really understand what happened.
Rex is going to search a vehicle for traces of ignitable liquids. So these are liquids in the form of petrols, diesels, paraffins, white spirit, any kind of liquid that somebody may use to start a fire deliberately. Rex will then be kitted out in his harness and his boots, and he'll carry out an exterior search of the vehicle and then an interior search of the vehicle. Once he's located the traces of the ignitable liquids, which will be in this case the white spirit, he will do what's called a passive indication. He will go rigid and point with his nose and hold that position until he receives his tennis ball, which is his reward for working.
Yeah, Rex is doing really well. He's been qualified since April this year now. He came to me last October as a fully trained fire investigation dog, but continued his training with me up until the process of his certification process in April. And he's already done a number of fires that has proved hugely successful.
So going back a step, not every service in the country has a fire dog. Tell us the benefits of having one.
Yeah, we're one of approximately 17 services in the country that has a fire investigation dog, and the purpose of the dog is obviously to search the scenes for traces of ignitable liquids. So if anybody's used anything in the form of petrol, for example, to start a fire, the dogs can sniff out those traces after the fire is fully extinguished to help us ascertain origin and cause of how the fire started and where it started. So historically, without the use of the dogs, it would find fire investigators would find themselves having to dig through a fire scene, and sometimes quite a large fire scene, for several days at a time, whereas obviously the dogs can go in and very quickly identify the use of accelerants or ignitable liquids to start a fire. These liquids include petrols, paraffins, lighter fluids, cigarette lighter fluid and barbecue lighter fluid, acetones, white spirit, just to mention a few of them.
So that's where we see the you get the little tennis ball training as a reward when they are going out.
That's right. Yeah, the dogs are working for a tennis ball reward. So this is obviously initially what they're trained to find, and as I say, we replace that with all the liquids we want them to find. So then we get to a stage in their training where the tennis ball can be removed from that training. So when they identify the liquids within their training scenarios and obviously in the fire scene environment, their reward for obviously finding those liquids for us is their tennis ball, and it's obviously lots of praise and reward.
Rex's predecessors have assisted in a number of high-profile incidents throughout the region. These include attempted murders, arsons and suicide cases. We'll be called to incidents whereby possibly the cause of a fire is not immediately obvious, or there are possibly suspicious circumstances. Once we arrive at a scene, it's vitally important to make sure that the scene is safe for Rex to work in. He'll only ever be put into the scene when it's safe to do so. The boots are primarily to protect his feet from broken glass and other debris that may cut his paws in the fire scene. He'll then be sent in to search a scene with me as his handler. Rex is going to carry out a training session in the fire behaviour training unit, whereby we'll place 2 drops of petrol within the search. He'll be searching in his harness and his boots. He'll be working off torchlight because obviously the darkness of the building, something that is vitally important for him to be training in the dark to make sure that he's at ease and comfortable with searching in these situations. Rex is now taken over from our second fire investigation dog in Hertfordshire called Cece. Cece will be remaining with me as his handler and will be retiring now Rex has taken over from him. Cece has his own Facebook page, which is Cece Fire Investigation Dog. And Rex also has his own Twitter page, which is @RexFireDog.